Hey everybody, this is Mr. Storm, and today we are going to build a dice rolling simulator. So we're going to build a Python program that whenever you run the program, it will simulate rolling a set of dice. And we're actually going to be able to set the amount of sides that our die has. So we can have a 20-sided dice, we can have a 6-sided dice, whatever we want, right? So again, the first step is always to go to replit.com. And we're going to create a new REPL. It's going to be a Python program, and we are going to call it Dice Roller, or something to that effect. Okay. Now in this project, we're going to review a lot of the concepts that we've already learned. We're obviously going to do input and output. We're going to review using variables, because we're going to need that for our program. We're going to review the if statements, so that we can determine if the player wants to roll again. We're going to review loops so that we can re-roll our die as many times as we want. And we are going to review the import random method so that we can have some randomness to our dice rolls. We don't want to get the same thing every time. The new concept that we're adding is creating a function. Excuse me. And we are going to define a function that will roll our dice for us, and we can call that function anytime we want, so that we can, so we don't have to repeat our code over and over again. And I'm sure you can imagine how we would use this in a much bigger program. Let's say you were trying to program a game of Yahtzee, right, where you're rolling dice all the time. You could have one function that rolls the dice, and then you just call that function whenever you need. So you'll see what I'm talking about here in a bit. The first thing we need to do is we need to import our random, because we are going to use random values in this program. Okay, import random, and it's going to be grayed out until we use it. Okay, next let's define our dice rolling function. So to define a function, we type the keyword def, and then we give it a name. I'm going to call mine roll dice. And inside this function, we need to pass in an argument. Specifically, we need to pass in how many sides our dice is going to have, our die is going to have. So sides, that way it can be 6-sided, 10-sided, 150-sided, whatever we want, right? Now inside this function, we are going to first print a statement letting them know that we are rolling the dice. So rolling dice, ... so that our user can see that something is happening. Then we're going to create a random seed, so random.seed, just like we did with the number guessing game. We're going to start our random generator, and then we're going to return a random.randint, and it's going to be start at 1, and it's going to go up to the number of sides. So this may be a bit complicated. Let me explain it really quickly. First, this return keyword means anytime we call this roll dice method, we're expecting it to return a value, right? And the value is going to be whatever this return is. So we're going to return the random number, and it's going to be a random integer that starts at 1 with a maximum value of whatever sides is. So if we call roll dice 6, then this will return a number from 1 to 6. That's what this function is doing, okay? So now that we have our roll side, or our roll dice function, now we can just write the rest of the program. And the rest of this program is going to be inside of a while loop. And it's going to be a, we're going to make it an infinite while loop, okay? So it's going to continue to run until we break the loop, okay? So we'll say while true, meaning it will always, always, always run until we break the loop. Okay, we're going to set the number of sides. So first thing we want to do is we need to determine how many sides is this die going to have. So we'll say sides equals int, because we need to cast it as an integer, input, enter the amount of sides. Okay. So we're going to enter the amount of sides. I'm going to put a space there. Then we want to get the result. So result, we'll call that new variable result. That's a pretty easy name for it. And we'll set it equal to this method passing in sides. So it's actually pretty easy. We just type the name of the method, roll, dice, and then inside we'll type sides. So what that's doing is when we get here, it's going to say, all right, we need to run this, or not method, sorry, function. We need to run this function, this roll dice function, and we're going to pass in the amount of sides that the user has just entered. So that becomes our upper limit for our random number generator. Okay. Then we will print our result, print, and let's make it a formatted output, and we'll say result is result. Okay, so that'll tell me what the dice roll was. Let's go ahead and do that real quick and see if that works. Enter the amount of sides, 10. So we got 8. Enter the amount of sides, 100. We got 18. Enter the amount of sides, 9. We got 5. Enter the amount of sides, 2. We got 1. So you can see we can enter any number we want, and it's never going to go above that number. It's going to pick a number between 1 and this number that we enter, and it's going to return that number, right? So 20, 9, right? So notice that this keeps going because we're inside of a while loop that never breaks. There's no break to this while loop. It's always true. So now we need to use an if statement to figure out if we're going to break out of this loop. We want to be able to stop the program on the user side whenever they are done rolling dice. So what we can say is, let's create a new variable called roll again. And we're going to set it equal to input roll again question mark, and we're going to give them some instructions. We'll say y n, so yes or no. Now we're going to do something here. We're going to take whatever they typed and we're going to turn it into lowercase letters. So even if they type a capital Y, we're going to turn it into a lowercase letter by typing dot lower open and close parentheses. So now everything they type will be a lowercase letter, okay? Then we just need to check to see if roll again equals y. So if roll, we'll say again, and you know what? What we'll do is we'll say if it doesn't equal y, then we'll break, because we want them to be, we'll say if it equals n. That way, the only way we exit is if they type n. If they just hit enter, then I'll just have it go again. Yeah, that makes sense. We'll say if roll again equals n. Then we will use this keyword break to break out of the loop. So let's try that. Let's delete our console and let's give that a shot. All right, number of sides, 45. We got 42. Roll again. Yes. Enter the amount of sides. 10. I got 1. Roll again. I'm just going to hit enter. And it's going to keep going. So enter the amount of sides. 89. Enter. Roll again. This time I'll say no. And it ends the program. We could actually put a statement here saying something like, thanks for rolling with us. Is that too corny? I think that's too corny, but it's fine. Let's test it. Enter the amount of sides. 36. Roll again. No. Thanks for rolling with us. All right, so that is our dice rolling simulator. Now, one note, notice that import random is underlined. It has this orange squiggly line underneath. It says import block is unsorted or unformatted. That's totally fine. We're just going to let that be because it's still working. It's doing what we want. It's just not exactly formatted the way that Replit wants us to format it, but it still works. It's fine. So once you're done, go ahead and turn in your project, click invite, toggle the join link, copy that link, and paste it into the submission box in Canvas. Thanks for paying attention, and I will see you next time.